Welcome to a series of interviews that I recently conducted with an elder and a spiritual leader in our local community here in New Mexico. His name is Patricio Dominguez. Enjoy it. The reason why this is interesting is I tried to talk about some of the misnomers and stereotypes and the stigmatizing words, verbiage that has been specifically applied to cannabis. So stoned, pothead, dope, all those are negative concepts. Being high is a negative thing. So people that are using opiates don't get high, they use it medicinally. Alcohol is only thought of as being used recreationally. Cannabis, again, what's going on with that? But you're describing the term stoned in a way that nobody else probably would. So obviously there's a negative connotation. It implies that people are lazy, confused, not able to concentrate, and perhaps irresponsibly whimsical. And you describe being stoned as incredibly powerful.
As a very a state with a lot of potential when it is directed and in proper set and setting.
Okay.
They are correct in that stoned is not really beneficial to normal world activities. It is a altered state of consciousness that would be ideal for the exploration of spiritual awareness, because it does in fact change the perceptions of the person in such a way that some of the common experiences are now irrelevant and very difficult to focus on because they are perceived as irrelevant and they just don't matter. When you are stoned, some of those ordinary activities just do not resonate as having real value to you at that particular time because of the state that you're in. Other things become really, really important. The classic example is it was in a movie about college fraternities or something, and there's these people sitting around in a room and they're passing a joint around, and then pretty soon they start discussing like, well, isn't everything like a part of God, and wouldn't it be really interesting to think that maybe the earth is just a molecule in the body of the giant that is God? And they wander in directions. They're no longer talking about such and such is really, really hot, or my new car is so fast and furious, that seems to lose relevance. Suddenly another mindset takes relevance. They're now concerned about the existential aspects of life. Why? It's because they're transformed. Their brain is functioning differently than a normal brain. And this, by coincidence or whatever, cannabis seems to have some force to move when it's not completely directed, have some force in that direction, or I should say when it's not distracted in another direction, it will actually move people in that direction. So stoned is really not a really good term for it. Actually, the best term for being under the influence of cannabis is high, because you are actually moving to a higher perception of things. Like I said, colors are enhanced, sounds are enhanced, tactile experiences are
I'd
enhanced.
have to say short-term memory doesn't seem to be one of those things that is enhanced.
Memory. What is memory? Memory is nothing but vestiges of material world experiences. Consciousness has no memory. Consciousness is not about memory. Consciousness is about perception, in the moment perception. You might have memory of higher consciousness experiences, but just going back to them, no, it's just memory. It's not consciousness, it's memory. So short-term memory and consciousness, it doesn't matter if your short-term memory is debilitated, because you don't need any memory in higher consciousness. All you really need is to have your mind open and directed to the new, greater expansion of your sensory abilities. That is what's important. There is nothing in your memory that is going to help you perceive better, clearer, sharper, greater. Nothing in your memory bank is going to enhance that.
Okay.
So what's the point of it? It's like I said, things that are not relevant will drop off.
Well, people do need to survive, and unfortunately in this world that we live in, most of us do so by spending hours behind the wheel working for somebody else and doing something they don't want to do.
This is true. That is why cannabis is a sacrament in the Church of the Spiritual Path, and it is only administered at ceremony. We do not condone continuous state of cannabis influence. That is not the way. There is a physicality. You're right. There's a physicality to human beings. There's a physicality to the whole of creation. In fact, actually, one of my favorite phrases that I do when I'm doing lectures to people is, be careful about this push to be spiritual. You want to have spiritual awareness and consciousness in your body, but don't make that your main focus of existence, because here's the situation. If you are truly working towards spirituality, at some point you're going to figure out that you were spiritual, you had spiritual existence before you were born. You're going to have spiritual experience after you leave this body. So you have been spiritual forever. You are going to be physical for 100 years. Don't waste that special space of being conscious of both simultaneously by trying to be spiritual. And also don't waste it by being too material either. In other words, if you want to be a human being, be simultaneously aware of your physicality and be respectful of it and take good care of it. And also, but do not neglect your spirituality either. Pursue it, enhance it, develop it, but don't go that way too far. Because if you get too spiritual, you might as well have stayed an angel. If you get too physical, well, you might as well just be a beast. But if you want to be a human being, there's that special magic space. You are simultaneously aware of your spirituality, and you will do things to feed it, and you will also have your physicality, and you will do things to feed it and keep it healthy. That is the goal of a true human being, and should be the goal of every member of the Church of the Spiritual Path, to develop themselves to be full human beings, aware of their spirituality, also conscious of their physicality, and keeping them in harmony and balance and to their highest level of health.
That's so amazing. And you're painting a picture of folks embracing their purpose, I guess, within the big scheme of things, within the universe. How do you think spirituality affects those that hurt? How we think about those that hurt us or other people, in terms of, in terms of how we interact with them and how we should perceive them and so forth. So, I mean, when you see everybody as one and they don't have the same
and they don't have the
sense,
same
they
place.
rip you off, whatever. We live in a dangerous place, right?
We live in a dangerous place. Raising children falls into that category. Children will hurt you in so many ways that you think, why in the world did I bother to bring them forth? But you understand that they're in the process of development, and you say, oh my God, you hurt me. Well, that's part of your growing experience. I will help you through this. I will tolerate your hurt. I will tolerate your disrespect. I will tolerate your all those things that you do to me as your parent, because I understand you're ignorant. It's my job to educate you that that what you're doing is not acting correctly. And so that's how we should act to everybody else that does stupid stuff. I mean, if somebody does something stupid to you, it's like, oh my God. Well, yes, you will probably never ever get. No, I shouldn't say that. It is very unlikely that you will ever get to the space where somebody can hurt you physically, and you'll just say, oh, "Wow, was that guy confused?" Okay, that's a very tough place to get to. Although, there was a prophet not too long ago. Maybe 2,000 years, maybe not too long ago. Two people who've been as old as me. But anyway, there was a prophet not too long ago who said, if somebody smacks you on the cheek, turn the other cheek. That concept is outrageous. To a normal consciousness, it's an outrageous concept. But to somebody who knows that that's a child and it did stupid stuff, in a fit of anger, it kicked me. It's like, oh, wait, don't be doing that. And it's like, oh, back off. It's like, just don't be doing that. To turn the other cheek and say, hey, no, hit me over on this side. This side's kind of sore. That is a place where you understand that the whole thing is one whole thing, and it's not an easy place to get to, but it is possible. It is absolutely possible for those that can grasp the need and have the dedication to get there.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to conceive of any really detrimental outcomes at a societal level that cannabis might result in, because, at an individual level, it tends to reduce a sense of aggression, heightens a sense of appreciation, kind of communal thoughts, and all those are helpful. Sense of altruism, less selfishness, in ways that you're describing in your own way. But there's got to be some downsides. There's got to be limitations.
There absolutely is a downside to it.
What are
the downside to it is it is so intriguing. Its ability to expand your senses is extremely subject to addiction.
Okay. And
so you want to be there all the time. That is its downside. It is so gentle, so kind in its ability to raise consciousness that you try to make it part of your everyday world, but it's not made for that. It can't be for that. It takes you to an altered state, and an altered state has its place and time. And if you take it out of its place and time, now it becomes a detriment. So and because it is this substance is so gentle, so kind, it has a extraordinarily high potential for that condition to be misused.
Yeah, the concept of addiction, and again, People could conceptualize it as a need or just absolutely a negative thing. So we're addicted to love and water and food and so forth, right?
Well, love, food, and water are already codified and written into the equation of normal life and consciousness. High, stoned is not written is not codified into normal range of consciousness and behavior. If everybody started eating cannabis at three meals a day, and everybody was in that place simultaneously, and everybody flipped to that worldview, and everybody lived on that plane, it wouldn't be an issue. But what we have now is a situation where somebody's at this plane, most of the people are at this plane, and they don't understand each other, and so they clash. And my feeling is there is nothing wrong with normal consciousness. I think we should all return back to normal consciousness after having had the experience of a higher capacity, and then we try to make it part of our normal consciousness. We bring it, we make the connection, but we should never rely on a higher order, a higher view, using a crutch. We should never use a substance to take us and hold us there. It should be part of our normal ability. And it's like in the old days, before chemistry invented color fast dyes, we would take plants that had color and make a soup out of them. We'd take cloth that we wove out of cotton or wool or whatever, and then we want to add color. We'd take that cloth and we'd dip it in the colored soup. We'd pull it out, and it had color for a while. We'd hang it out to dry, and the color would fade, but there'd be a little bit of color left. So we'd take it again, we'd dip it in the dye, and we'd hang it out, and then the color would fade, but it would be a little bit more colorful and we keep doing this until one day we hang it out there and the color is solid. It's like it doesn't fade that day. This is the process to make things normal. You take it and dip it in the dye. In other words, you dip your mind in the higher consciousness. You pull it out, live in the normal world, let it fade a little bit, but there's a little bit of leftover, and you keep doing that. But you do not take the cloth and dunk it in the dye and leave it there. That's not functional. That doesn't color the cloth. In fact, actually, if you took it out and put it in the sun, it would fade. Just like if you'd done it the first time, it does not get the deeper color. So the process is to bounce back and forth from one to the other with a regular process.
I love the representation that a human being is really a balance of being an animal and a spirit. And let's see if we can navigate these grounds as best we can and try to help other folks. Thank you so much.
Glad to help.
Yes, sir. I hope you enjoyed this interview. I know that it was an incredibly interesting experience for me, and I hope that at least some of you shared some of that interest. As always, if you like videos like this, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, or consider becoming a patron for our channel or a donor to the Medical Cannabis Research Fund, where we are fighting every single day to bring you objective, relevant information that you could use to make informed medical decisions, that you could use to maybe even expand your consciousness. We're doing it here. We're working for you at the Medical Cannabis Research Fund, because together we are changing the world.